Okay, this is video number 3 on May 1st as I answer your questions and get progressively more and more inebriated. However, as you can tell by my accent, I am a man with a quite an efficient liver or kidney, what takes care of your someone gave me a bow. This is kind of a pain, kind of in the way, isn't it? Someone gave me a bow. Get off that. Yeah, anyway, I'm okay. I've only had a couple shots of this. It's really good, you know. As I've mentioned in the previous videos, if you'd like to kiss my butt, that's the best lubrication. Okay, let's go on to the next question. I'm just answering some questions here. Let's see. Okay, the next question comes from a man named Everton. Kind of a cool name, Everton. Oh, by the way, I have been, you might think, oh, long time no see, Victor. I have been uploading videos on Japanese food channel. If you don't know about that channel, check it out, Japanese food channel. You can learn a bit of Japanese too as you watch me eat various different foods. Anyway, let's go to the next question. He has two different questions. Well, he sent this email to me for two reasons. First reason is, your videos are great. I'm interested in learning Japanese, but I don't have time right now. But your videos help me. Oh, I find your video on. Yeah, I made a video a while ago saying don't waste time on hypotheticals. He liked that idea, and he says the young generation doesn't take risks like you did when you were young. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the young generation is doing. I'm too busy. My second question: you made a video with advice. Oh yeah, oh wow. My second question is that if you made a video with advice, what advice would you give to yourself when you were in your 20s? Have a great health and good company this year. Okay, so Everton, thank you for the question. Wow. Okay, serious answer. If I were in my 20s, I would have said well, if I knew I was coming to Japan, I would have studied Japanese more. Can I go back to like when I was 18 or 17? I wish I had studied Japanese when I was younger. So if you guys are young now, this is the time to study, because when you're young, your brain is like a sponge, and you've heard this before. It absorbs everything, including STDs. So be careful about that. But in all seriousness, yeah, when you're young, that's the time to to get lots of things. Some of those are syphilis, which affects the brain as well. No, but seriously, yeah, study a lot, especially language, because language, I think gets more difficult when you get older, but it's not impossible. It's still doable. Okay. So number one, study. Number two, if you have the means, you get an education, get the certificates, get the BA, get the masters early. Unfortunately, you know, I'm torn, because I think I know a lot of people with BAs and masters who are just idiots, or not that impressive. I shouldn't say idiots, but because I'm an idiot, I'm a moron, right? But you know, it doesn't mean you're going to be smart just because you have that. But when it comes to selling yourself as a formidable member of the workforce, you know, if you want to get a job, those definitely come in handy. So yeah, get those early. You get the sweet positions. Here's the thing. You can get a job at a university, and I had been offered many jobs at university. Like, well, not many, a couple in the past, and I always turn them down because university students in Japan don't care about learning English. They have to take the class, and they're basically, it's like pulling teeth. It's like most of them don't really care about it. They just want to get through the class and get their credit because it's a required course. And I've heard from many people that it's just it's kind of a nightmare to teach. So I've always avoided teaching those classes. However, looking back and retrospectively, I can't think of it. What's it called when you look behind hindsight? Yes, that's it. Hindsight. Look back behind your legs. Hindsight is 2020. The money is so sweet and the positions are so nice that yeah, you should get them. The way universities work, and even some high schools and some other places where I've been blessed to actually work, because I have worked at university before, is they will pay you per class, per month, for the whole year, even when they're closed, even when there are no classes. So, for example, let's say you get, I don't know, 20,000 yen, or let's just make it easy so no one gets confused. Let's say you get 20,000 yen per class, and you teach 4 classes a month. I mean, you have 4 classes. Well, you teach 1 class a month, but it meets every week, right? So once a week you teach a class. Okay, let's say you get 20,000, which is very, very little actually. 20 is like $200, right? But you would get that if you were teaching that 1 class the whole year round. You'd get paid even the 2 months in, you know, December or August when there's no classes, and even half of July, right? So it's kind of nice, right? And of course, usually people don't have just 1 class; they'll have 10 classes. So imagine, you know, take that $200 and multiply it by 10, and if you're lucky to have 10 classes, then there'll be 1 month during the year where you get paid for doing nothing, which is sweet. However, I have heard that a few universities now have opted are you know, saving money by actually what's it called, outsourcing their teaching positions to companies like Interact or something. I'm not saying it's Interact for sure, but anyway, companies that will hire a teacher like myself, for example, to work at the university 10 months a year, and that's all. And I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know the details, but anyway, the point is, the university gets away with not paying the teacher for the 2 months where they don't work, which that kind of makes sense, right? I mean, why should that teacher get that money anyway? Anyone who gets that kind of deal is lucky, and it's a sweet deal, and I'm happy to have partaken in the spoils of bad management. But so as a 20-year-old, I would say that's one piece of advice I would give you. Get the education and get that sweet, boring university position. Now, I have an uncle who's a psychiatrist, and he told me, you know, you might think, oh, it's an interesting job, but he said, once you know your job, it was interesting in the beginning, but any job in the end becomes boring because you've just done it so many times. So don't be too concerned about the interest or boredom of your job, because eventually they all basically plane out to the same level of boredom. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or even, I suppose, a rocket scientist. I don't know. Maybe I would bet even like making movies, because I read the other day that Woody Allen was like, making movies is not interesting anymore. I'd rather just watch sports, right? They asked him, they said, would you like to, if you had the choice of making no more movies from tomorrow, or not watching any sports from tomorrow, which would you choose? And he said, I got to watch sports. You know, sports are always much more exciting. It's all old hat, you know. All old hat making movies. So don't worry about that too much. But at the same time, don't define yourself by your job, because that's not you. I mean, you may think it's you, and one day you'll lose that job and be lost, because you'll think, oh, what am I now? I've lost my job. But you're not that job. You're not your khaki pants, right? Etc. Fight Club stuff. Find your fulfillment, find your identity in other things. And I've got to say, I've found it partially through blogging. I don't need to have any kind of job anymore. I'm okay just being me, thanks to blogging. So that's one thing to find out, is figure out who you are and I would say tell my 20-year-old self, because I used to be the kind of person who used to define themselves that way. Like, I own this bar, and I manage that rock and roll band, and I'm the head teacher of that school, you know. But when I lost all those things for various reasons, the heroin, no, just kidding. No, but when I lost those positions, I felt like I lost part of myself. But now I know that that's not true, because that was not really me. It was me grasping on to some way to identify myself and describe myself. So that's another thing I would tell myself, my 20-year-old self. The other thing I would say is don't be such a don't be such a don't be so romantic, because I'll tell you what happened is I had a girlfriend that I completely lost myself in. I did everything for her. And I wouldn't even say I was pussy whipped. Excuse me for any cat lovers out there. I would say it was more I was into being in love so much that I completely lost myself. And I lost myself. I lost my identity. I lost all desire to do anything. I lost my dreams. You know, the motivation, the doki, as we say in Japanese, the doki to push on with my dreams was gone. I just wanted to make her happy. And when she left me, which invariably, and luckily for both of us, she did, because, you know, who wants a guy like that? You know, the guy was just like a slave, like a happy slave. Oh. And it wasn't really her so much; it was the relationship. You know, it was like, oh, I'm so happy to be in this lovey-dovey relationship. It was. I would tell my 20-year-old self to don't ever do that. This didn't last that long, but I would warn my 20-year-old self. Right, in a couple of years, you're gonna meet a girl. You're gonna completely fall in love with her, and you're gonna give up your whole identity just to, you know, all your dreams. You're gonna throw in the wastebasket just to make her happy. Don't let that happen. I would say. Another thing I would say to my 20-year-old self is, after that happens, don't become the poster boy for the man whore, you know, because I'll tell you what was interesting about that is after we broke up, I went out and I didn't care about anything, as in I became, and that gave me a kind of freedom and a kind of invincibility. I just went out and enjoyed life. Like I would because I was actually miserable. I was so miserable that I would go out to clubs and shit, and just I had tremendous confidence because I didn't care, you know, about getting hurt, because nothing could hurt me at that moment. That I would just go out and just, you know, grab life by the balls, and often those balls were actually not connected to a man, but actually more metaphorically speaking, connected to women. And I think I ended up hurting my soul a little bit by just being too abusive, self-abusive. And I don't mean masturbation. I mean, I kind of punished myself by just going out with whoever, you know, getting into relationships that didn't matter. That's I think the most political way I can say this, but yeah, I got into a lot of relationships that didn't matter, and it ended up I think damaging my soul a little bit. Now maybe that's just because I'm a pussy. Maybe you, strapping young men out there, will have no problem going out there and being the young, dumb, full of kind of guys that will just because I know guys like that exist, you know, but in my opinion, that kind of attitude only hurts yourself, or that kind of behavior is just it's self-destructive. So I would tell my 20-year-old self, yeah, don't do that, man. Go out with women who you really care about. And yeah, what else could I tell my 20-year-old self? Don't sell your Apple Mac stocks, because I had a bunch and I sold because my brother talked me into buying some crap that went out of business. You know, I spent $10,000 on the stock that just went to hell, and I had $10,000 in Apple. I don't remember how much I had in Apple, but I had quite a bit in Apple, and I sold, and now it's worth like tons of money. It's gone down since then, so maybe I'd be like, oh my god, my $10,000 is now only worth $80,000 instead of $200,000, which it used to be last month. So I would say don't sell that. With your investments, okay, how about that? Don't play the stock market unless you know what you're doing. How about that? That's a good advice. And don't buy shit that you don't believe in. I believed in Apple and Macintosh, and it would have been a good investment if I had stuck with it. but unfortunately I didn't, and that's why when I bought that, that's why I had to buy a Ferrari instead of a Lamborghini, you know, because I couldn't afford the Lambo. Anyway, we'll see that soon, coming up in a new video, my new gold Ferrari. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the question. What's your name again? Is it Everton? Yeah, Everton. Thanks for the question, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.